You ever see somebody so full of themselves, so drunk on their little slice of authority, that they forget nature doesn't play by their rules? That's exactly what happened out here in our community. And if you had told me a year ago that my bull, was going to flip a $70,000 truck into a ditch and spark a war with our HOA president, I'd have laughed you off my porch. But that's what went down, and trust me, it turned into something way bigger than a broken fence or a wrecked vehicle. It started on what I thought was just another quiet afternoon. I was in the kitchen when I heard this long, obnoxious horn blast. At first I thought somebody had crashed, maybe a delivery gone wrong. But when I stepped outside, there he was, the president of our HOA, shiny sunglasses, chrome-plated pickup parked right up against my fence. And he's not just honking once to get someone's attention. He's leaning on it, laying into it like he's summoning Satan himself. Honk, honk, honk. My wife came running, thought maybe somebody was hurt. Nope, he was doing it on purpose. Now, I've got this bull Diablo. We've had him for years. He's calm, disciplined, honestly friendlier than some folks I know, and he stays behind the fence. Never hurt anyone, never wandered. But bulls don't like being taunted. At first Diablo just paced, snorted a little, trying to make sense of the racket. And then, man, I swear it happened in slow motion. He lowered that big head, took 3 steps back, and launched forward. Wood splinters flew as he plowed through the fence like it was a tissue paper backdrop. He hit that fancy truck dead on, lifted the whole front end off the ground, and tossed it sideways into the ditch. Tires spinning in the air, windshield spiderwebbed, horns still wheezing like a dying goose. It looked like a monster truck rally gone wrong. And the best part? The HOA president crawled out, covered head to toe in mud, suit pants ruined, and instead of asking if anyone was hurt, or checking on the bull he just antagonized, he starts yelling. Yelling at us. Talking lawsuits, reckless endangerment, domestic terrorism via livestock. I kid you not, those were his words. My wife and I just stood there staring at him like, buddy, you picked this fight, and now you're mad the bull fought back? I thought maybe after he cooled off, this would just be an embarrassing memory for him. But no, the next morning there's an official HOA citation taped to our gate. 14 days to remove all aggressive livestock, or fines start stacking at $500 a day. Let that sink in. He provokes my bull, trespasses right up to my fence line, wrecks his own truck, and somehow I'm the one getting penalized. That's when I realized this wasn't about safety. It wasn't even about Diablo. This was about power. See, we live in a semi-rural community. Folks have horses, chickens, goats. It's normal out here. My family's land has been ours for over 40 years. We aren't trying to play farm on a cul-de-sac. This is the real thing. But suddenly new rules start showing up. No livestock over 1,000 pounds. No non-standard fencing. Noise restrictions targeting roosters and donkeys. Every one of those rules pointed straight at the families with animals. And they weren't voted on at public meetings either. They were slipped into newsletters in fine print. So most people didn't even know until a violation showed up in their mailbox. That's when I started digging. And what I found made my blood boil. Turns out Mr. HOA president, the same guy who hated seeing Diablo grazing, had quietly bought up 3 empty lots at the edge of the neighborhood through some Shell LLC. Those lots had just been rezoned from agricultural to residential development. Translation, he could build luxury homes, sell them for a massive profit, and cash out. But there was a problem. Us. Our animals. Our way of life. We didn't fit the glossy brochure he wanted to sell. Diablo wasn't just a bull in his eyes. He was an obstacle, standing between him and a 7-figure payday. And we weren't the only ones. The couple with miniature donkeys got slapped with a visual harmony violation. Another family fined for unauthorized agricultural activity because of their chicken coop that had been there since the 90s. It was a purge, slow and sneaky. He wanted every trace of rural living gone. The man even started lurking. I caught him sitting in his truck across from our land with binoculars. When I walked up to ask what in the hell he was doing, he just smirked and said, "Better start packing. This place is about to change." That's when the mask dropped. No more pretending it was about safety. This was domination. But the guy underestimated us. And he definitely underestimated Diablo. Within 2 weeks of the bull flipping his truck, we'd been hit with 4 more fines. Inadequate fencing, unregistered livestock, unauthorized signage. Because we had a no trespassing sign. And get this, creating an unsafe environment for motor vehicles. Yeah, they fined us because his truck got flipped. It was laughable if it wasn't so insane. Neighbors started whispering, dropping by with bits of info. One woman, June, came over with a plate of cookies and a warning. She'd been at a secret HOA meeting the night before. The president rolled out his grand plan, something he called Project Harmony. Fancy words for bulldozing our way of life. He wanted to rebrand the whole community as a luxury hybrid development. Gated entrances, paved roads, strict aesthetics, no livestock, no barns. Asked who'd pay for it. He said, the residents. They just don't know it yet. And then fate dropped a gift in my mailbox. Literally. He accidentally left a packet meant for board members in my box. Inside were draft brochures, Whisper Pines, modern living in a reclaimed countryside. And right there in black and white, Phase 1, remove livestock obstacles. Secure clean zoning. That's when it clicked. We weren't neighbors to him. We were line items on a spreadsheet. So I started planning. I went digging through old paperwork my granddad had stashed away and found the original community charter from decades ago, before the HOA even existed. And in it was a clause that changed everything. Agricultural use of the land was irrevocable unless unanimously amended by the original deed holders or their direct descendants. Guess what? My family was one, and so were 5 other families still living here, which meant every bylaw he'd been passing to eliminate livestock, legally worthless. His whole scheme was built on sand. But I wasn't about to show my hand early. No, I let him keep digging his own grave. I recorded everything. Dash cams, security cameras, hidden mics at meetings. I documented every bogus fine and every intimidation attempt. Because when it was time, I wanted the takedown to be public, brutal, and impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, something unexpected happened. Diablo became a folk hero. A neighbor's teenage son posted a clip of him grazing peacefully with the caption, "The last free citizen of Whisper Pines." It went viral. Suddenly, he was the horned hero, the HOA slayer. People made memes, bumper stickers, even a Photoshop of him like a pro wrestler facing off against the flipped truck. And the more the HOA president cracked down, the more people rooted for the bull. The final straw came when he tried to seize Diablo. One Tuesday morning, a trailer pulled up, and a deputy knocked on our door with some nonsense about a safety action. No court order, no warrant, just the president's signature and his golf buddy sheriff co-signing it. My wife rolled video while I calmly asked the deputy to repeat himself. The man admitted on camera it wasn't a warrant. They left without the bull, but the video? Oh, the video blew up. Local news, then regional, then national AG blogs. Suddenly, this wasn't just a neighborhood squabble. It was a symbol of corruption and overreach. That's when an environmental attorney reached out, said he'd take our case pro bono. We met. I showed him the old charter, the fake fines, the seized development plan, the viral video. He smiled and said, "They've broken 6 state laws. If we time this right, you're not just stopping them, you're burying them." So we set the stage for the biggest HOA meeting this community had ever seen. The room was packed, standing room only, cameras rolling. I stepped up with documents in hand. First, I read the original charter clause about livestock. Gasps. Then I named the 6 deed holder families who had never agreed to changes. Then I held up the glossy development brochures, the fake fines, and finally, I played the video of them trying to seize Diablo without legal authority. The crowd turned. Neighbors who'd been silent now furious. June stood and shouted, "He's stealing our land and using our money to do it." That was it. The dam broke. One board member stood and said, "I move to suspend the president effective immediately." The vote was taken right then and there, majority rule as the old charter allowed. And just like that, the man who thought he controlled us was out, voted down in front of everyone. He lost it, screaming about property values, calling us blind. But nobody was listening. And as he stormed out, reporters and a state investigator were waiting outside with leaked audio of him ranting about that damn cow, turning him into a meme, along with documents tying him to his cousin's development company. He didn't just lose a vote. He walked straight into a criminal probe. What followed was a domino effect. State auditors froze HOA funds. Investigations uncovered money funneled into private development. His sheriff buddy got placed on leave. The rest of the board resigned or apologized. And Jeff, the big man who thought he'd rewrite our world, Found his house on the market, price cut 6 times, no buyers in sight. Turns out nobody wants to move into the neighborhood where a bull flipped the HOA president's truck and exposed a land grab scheme. As for Diablo, he's still here, grazing, calm as ever, blissfully unaware that he's the most famous bovine in the county. The HOA office Jeff renovated with our money was converted into the Diablo Community Center. We hold farmers markets there now. Kids come for livestock classes. Out front, there's a sculpture made from the wreckage of his truck, twisted chrome welded into the shape of a charging bull. People drive in just to take selfies. Hashtags like #BullJustice and #ToraRevenge keep trending. Looking back, it's wild to think all this started with one arrogant man honking at an animal. One honk, one reckless decision, and it unraveled his entire empire of fake rules and corruption. He wanted to erase us, but in the end, he erased himself. And I'll tell you what, I'm no activist, no politician. I'm just a guy who loves his land and his animals. But this taught me something important. When people in power forget who they serve, when they twist rules for profit and bully the quiet folks, sometimes it takes a community, and sometimes it takes a bull, to remind them that we're not so easy to push around. So here's my question to you. If you were in my shoes, would you have fought back or would you have given in to keep the peace? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me your own HOA or power trip stories. Because this wasn't just about Diablo. It was about every one of us who's ever been told to sit down and take it. And I think we proved pretty clearly, we don't have to.